Even though Pokémon Legends Z-A keeps things tight with a Pokédex of just 230 entries, it still throws us a fun curveball by packing in more pseudo-legendary Pokémon than you'd normally expect. Most regions only give us one or two of these powerhouses, but Z-A pulls from across generations to bring together a seriously stacked lineup. These are the kinds of Pokémon that make you stop mid-journey and think, okay, this just got real. Pseudo-legendaries are harder to track down, hit like trucks, and usually come with those sky-high base stat totals that make battles way more exciting. They're not always dragon type, but they almost always feel like final boss material, especially with the move pools they get. So in a game where power is everything and Lumiose City is packed with tough opponents, which of these monsters actually stand at the top? Today, we're breaking down the best pseudo-legendary Pokémon in Pokémon Legends Z-A, and trust me, some of the picks might surprise you. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching! Alright, let us talk about Noivern in a way that feels like we are just hanging out and breaking down why this bat dragon deserves a spot in the best pseudo-legendary Pokémon conversation for Pokémon Legends Z-A. Noivern has always had a bit of an underdog vibe. It made its entrance back in the Pokémon X and Pokémon Y era, right in Lumiose City, and honestly, it walked into a room that was already full of Dragon-type heavy hitters. Dragon and Flying-type as a combination is practically a classic at this point, thanks to Dragonite setting the standard all the way back in the first generation. And of course, every time this topic comes up, someone always brings up Arcanine and the should it be legendary or pseudo-legendary debate. That conversation is basically eternal at this point. Stat-wise, Noivern is a bit of a mixed bag, and that is what makes it such an interesting pick. On one hand, its attacking stats are not exactly showstoppers. Special attack sits at a respectable 97, attack at 70, and both defenses hover around 80. Not terrible, not amazing, just solid enough to let Noivern stay on the field without feeling like it is made of wet cardboard. The real spice comes from its speed stat. 123 speed is nothing to joke about. This thing is practically built to move first, dodge danger, and set the pace of the fight. When you are running a team that relies on momentum, Noivern feels like that one friend who always sprints ahead and yells back, "Hurry up!" Now, the flip side of all that speed is fairly obvious. You will not be securing too many one-hit knockouts unless you build around Noivern properly. It hits fast, but it does not always hit hard. A lot of the time, you will find yourself needing 2, maybe even 3 attacks to bring something down, depending on the matchup. But honestly, that is part of the fun. Noivern is the definition of play smart, play fast. If you lean into that identity, using its speed to control who moves first, pairing it with support moves, or giving it teammates that can soften targets first, Noivern becomes one of the most enjoyable pseudo-legendary style Pokémon to use in Pokémon Legends Z-A. It is not the brute force monster of the group, but it is definitely the stylish speedster that keeps every fight feeling dynamic. If you thought Noivern brought some chaos to the battlefield, Goodra steps in like the calm but ridiculously tanky powerhouse of the group. Right away, its stats tell the whole story. With a massive 150 special defense stat, Goodra shrugs off special attacks like they are gentle breezes. It does not need blazing speed to keep up because it simply outlives almost everything that tries to take it down. Compared to Noivern, which leans on hitting first, Goodra leans on surviving first, and it does that exceptionally well. What really makes Goodra fun is its offensive flexibility. While it might not be as quick, both its 100 attack and 110 special attack give it the freedom to hit from whichever side you prefer. Want a physical bruiser? It can do that. Want a special tank that fires off powerful dragon-type or water-type moves? It can do that too. In Pokémon Legends Z-A, this versatility makes Goodra feel like a Swiss Army knife among pseudo-legendary Pokémon, always ready to take on whatever challenge comes next. Of course, unlocking Goodra's potential means getting through the small hurdle of actually finding a Goomy. Since it only appears in the rain, you might spend a little time waiting on the weather. But once you catch one and begin raising it, the payoff is huge. Goodra's mix of durability, power, and adaptability easily earns it a spot among the best pseudo-legendary Pokémon in the game. Salamence comes in as one of the most aggressively designed pseudo-legendary Pokémon in the entire Pokémon Legends Z-A roster. When you look at its stats, the first thing that jumps out is that massive 135 attack paired with a very solid 110 special attack. It basically announces to everyone on the field that it is here to hit hard and it is not interested in playing slowly. Compared to many pseudo-legendary Pokémon that lean heavily toward either physical offense or special offense, Salamence is one of the rare ones that can genuinely do both without feeling awkward. However, when you actually use Salamence in battles, you quickly realize that its physical side is where it truly shines. That 135 attack is simply too good to ignore, and it feels like a waste not to build around it. Yes, you can give it a couple of special coverage moves just to keep opponents guessing, but Salamence really rewards players who commit to its physical strengths. There is something incredibly satisfying about watching it tear through opponents before they even have a chance to breathe. And trust me, speed is important here because Salamence is not exactly built to take punishment. Its defenses sit at a modest 80 for both defense and special defense, which means it does not enjoy prolonged fights. If an Ice-type attack lands, the battle usually ends right there. Because of that, using Salamence is all about momentum and tempo. You enter, you strike fast, and you aim to delete threats before they can touch you. When played to its strengths, Salamence absolutely earns its place among the best pseudo-legendary Pokémon in Pokémon Legends Z-A. Garchomp is the kind of pseudo-legendary Pokémon that does not waste time. With 130 attack and a blazing 102 speed, it is built to strike first and strike hard. It may not be wearing heavy armor with its defensive stats, but it absolutely makes up for that with the ability to knock out opponents before they can even counterattack. And even though it avoids the common dragon and flying type combination, it still carries that painful quadruple weakness to ice type attacks, which means every ice beam in the game suddenly looks like a personal threat. The good news is that Garchomp is far from helpless against its natural predators. It has access to fantastic coverage like Iron Head and Poison Jab, two reliable ways to shut down Fairy-type and Ice-type Pokémon that would normally give it trouble. And when you pair those moves with its powerful physical presence, Garchomp starts feeling less like a glass cannon and more like a controlled missile that you aim exactly where you want your problems to disappear. And honestly, while Salamence might edge it out in raw physical attack, Garchomp makes up the difference in a big way with its superior bulk and slightly faster speed. It just feels safer to use. You can throw it into more situations without sweating because it has the durability to take a hit and the momentum to keep battles under your control. In Pokémon Legends Z-A, Garchomp stands out as one of the most reliable pseudo-legendary Pokémon you can bring into a fight, delivering power without sacrificing stability. Dragonite is the original Dragon-type and Flying-type pseudo-legendary Pokémon, and even after all these years, it has not lost a single step. With 134 attack, 100 defense on both sides, and a respectable 100 special attack, Dragonite remains a powerhouse that can jump into almost any situation and come out on top. It has that classic all-rounder but still scary feel that made players fall in love with it in the first place. Even in Pokémon Legends Z-A, where newer pseudo-legendaries are competing for attention, Dragonite proves that experience still counts for something. But what truly pushes Dragonite into a new era is its long-awaited Mega Evolution. After you finish Main Mission 32 and earn its Mega Stone, Dragonite finally gets a boost worthy of its legacy. This upgrade increases its total power in exactly the places it needed improvement, giving it a fresh identity and letting it keep up with the modern threats in the game. If you have ever wanted a Pokémon strong and quick enough to help you plow through 1,000 battles to earn your shiny charm, Mega Dragonite is built precisely for that kind of grind. When Dragonite Mega evolves, its stat distribution shifts in a really interesting way. Instead of being a primarily physical attacker, Mega Dragonite transitions into a devastating special attacker with 145 special attack. That is a massive jump from its original 100, and it completely transforms how you approach its move pool. You might notice that its physical attack drops slightly, but the payoff is enormous, because the jump in special attack lets Mega Dragonite finally take advantage of all the powerful special moves it has been sitting on for years. And the beauty of this transformation is how naturally it fits Dragonite's toolkit. Moves like Dragon Pulse, Hyper Beam, and all those special coverage options suddenly become centerpieces instead of afterthoughts. Mega Dragonite hits fast, it hits clean, and it hits with the kind of force that makes battles feel effortless. It is not just a nostalgic pick anymore. In Pokémon Legends Z-A, it is a fully modern pseudo-legendary that proves why it has been respected for generations. Metagross is one of those pseudo-legendary Pokémon that immediately commands respect the moment it steps onto the field. With a massive 135 attack and a surprisingly strong 95 special attack, it has the freedom to hit however it wants. But what truly sets Metagross apart is the fact that it is the only pseudo-legendary Pokémon with defensive stats that practically mirror its offensive power. 130 defense paired with 90 special defense means this thing is not just here to punch holes, it is perfectly built to stand its ground. And while its pre-evolution Beldum is notoriously difficult to find as a shiny Pokémon in most games, Pokémon Legends Z-A gives players a pleasant surprise. Once you make it to the Lysandra Labs area, shiny hunting becomes dramatically easier. If you are the kind of player who loves that clean silver Metagross color palette, this is your moment. It might take a bit of patience, but the payoff is absolutely worth it, because shiny Metagross looks like something straight out of a high-tech sci-fi lab. What really makes Metagross fun, though, is how boldly it lets you push your luck. With 130 defense, it can tank hit after hit in situations where most offensive Pokémon would crumble instantly. It thrives when it is on an even playing field, and when it is slightly higher leveled, it starts feeling nearly unstoppable. That does not mean you should throw it recklessly into danger, but if you ever need something to soak up damage, especially from Poison-type Pokémon that simply cannot threaten it, Metagross handles that role effortlessly while still dishing out terrifying damage in return. Tyranitar has always been one of those Pokémon that just looks like trouble, and in Pokémon Legends Z-A, it absolutely lives up to that reputation. With a massive 134 attack and surprisingly sturdy defenses, 110 defense and 100 special defense, Tyranitar is fully capable of taking hits while dishing out terrifying physical damage in return. Its speed stat might be a bit of a disappointment sitting at 61, but honestly, when Tyranitar hits this hard, it barely matters. If it gets a chance to swing, it can delete a health bar from full to zero in a single strike. And when it comes to Rock-type Pokémon, Tyranitar is in a league of its own. It is easily the strongest in the game, and its typing gives it some incredible matchups. Charizard? Completely shut down. Psychic-type Pokémon? Swept aside with powerful Dark-type moves like Crunch. Tyranitar is one of those Pokémon that can walk into a fight, pick its target, and remove it without much fuss. If you want a reliable powerhouse that always feels threatening, this is your monster. Things get even more intense once you unlock its Mega Evolution. Mega Tyranitar takes everything that makes the base form scary and cranks it up to a whole new level. While its HP and speed barely change, the rest of its stats go wild. Its attack jumps from a terrifying 134 to an absurd 164, instantly making it one of the hardest-hitting physical attackers in the entire game. And it does not stop there. Its defense rockets to 150, and its special defense climbs to 120, turning it into a true tank. This stat boost means Mega Tyranitar can walk into almost any battle and survive long enough to deliver a potential one-hit knockout against most opponents. It is the kind of Pokémon that rewards aggressive play, but still backs you up when things get messy. If you thought Tyranitar was impressive before, Mega Tyranitar shows you just how far this prehistoric powerhouse can go when pushed to its limits. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.